Hi, and good morning. Welcome to Dripping with Meaning. My name is Nicole Marie Campbell, and this is Spirituality Gone Wild. So, thanks to everybody who's out there right now this morning. Another exciting morning ahead of us in my show. I have the lovely Lee Cara here with me today, and we are doing chapter 2 of her book, Unleash Your Light. And the discussion point is going to be nice to others. So let's welcome Lee in. I want to remind everybody, as you see in the comments and in the postings, if you're on Facebook, that if you press over to StreamYard and welcome us in on Facebook as StreamYard, that you'll be able to potentially get a reading or make comments about our dialogue. So if you could do that, that'd be great. It's right there in your it should be there in your post if you're watching, and it is in my comment section. So, anyways, let me just bring her on in and let's get started with some exciting, happy, liberating, good vibes. Good morning.
Morning. Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited this morning. This is one of my favorite topics, y'all. So I'm very happy to chat
Yeah,
my so
I'm
how you
excited too because you have a friend with you today in the room, and I know probably the audience didn't see it, but before you sat on your camera, I said, "Can I have one of those too, please?" Because it's like there is a mermaid statue in that room, everyone. It's an official mermaid. Look at it.
doing?
Wowzers.
She's lounging out.
I
It
know it,
literally looks like it came off a pirate ship. I have no idea where they got it, but it's gorgeous.
but you can't send one of those to me, though. I want one of those. Everyone, just to let you know, so I'm Nicole Marie Campbell and I'm designingartist.com. And what I do is I do intuitive show making as well as intuitive paintings for those who are on the mastering of their spiritual journey, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or end. I also am directing and creating content in order to bring people into themselves and their spiritual awareness as easily and seamlessly as possible. So there'll be lots of upcoming dialogue for me. Tonight as well, I'll be back on Spirituality Gone Wild, and we'll be talking about Astrology 101 and sort of what's coming up in the stars and doing another reading. So, but this morning we are doing the beautiful Lee Cara and her wonderful journey of creating Unleash Your Light.
Yes. So, Unleash Your Light. I wrote this cute little book. It is super simple ways that you can access the divine within you and integrate it into everyday life. So, today we're going to talk about being nice to others. And let me tell you, people don't make it easy sometimes. I'm just trying to share out a little bit. If you see me looking to the left, please feel free to share out to your friends, to your group. Maybe if you know someone who needs be a little bit nicer, not to put anyone on blast, but we all know someone who kind of walks through their life generally annoyed at
Yes.
other people. Just kind of generally like, oh, really? Oh, that person? Oh, I had to wait in line for 3 minutes. I used to have a friend that um, it seemed to happen every single week that something would happen in his life, something little, like his phone wasn't working properly. And at the beginning of the week, it would just be nothing major, just a small thing that he had to do. But he would make it this big thing. Oh, my phone doesn't work, this piece of garbage, I can't stand it. And then by the next day, now something else had gone wrong. And then by Wednesday, he had a fight with the guy at the phone store. And now by Thursday, he's, F my life, I can't deal with this, all this kind of stuff. So it's really it's almost like a self-fulfilling spiral of anger and annoyance just at the world in general. So when we do this for ourselves, we end up blocking that natural flow. We end up blocking the natural flow of energy. So being nice to other people is not necessarily for them, although that's a very nice bonus. It's really for us because it's about our energy and how we're walking around the world and how we're interacting with others. Because even though the journey is all about me, I am also the many. I am the one and I am the collective. It is a single experience and it is a plural experience. I am a singularity of the plurality. And when I
Yeah.
interact with others, I'm interacting with myself.
I would love to do a painting based on that as well, because it's so like everything lately for me with deciding on my next piece. So I just got a call in from a really good art friend that we're working on a project here for Mental Health Association, and I got a bunch of new canvases coming. So and they're bigger size too. So I'm like really excited. So doing that sort of like conscious to me, it's like I've learned lately that I'm the emperor, empress of my beingness, my being here with you. I can be
Mhm.
my stability and I can be my beauty. But at the same time, in that non dual perception, that we do actually run off of one another's energy, and the energy of other people can afflict one and or brighten your day is definitely relevant to me.
Yeah, without even words. Like everybody knows someone that when they walk in the room, everyone's like, yes, they're here, and they
Yeah.
didn't even say anything yet. And then we also know people that walk in the room and everyone's like, like, really, really, this person, and they haven't even done anything yet. And it's just about the energy you carry. Even like when you're walking around the grocery store, okay, and you're shopping in the aisles or you're, doing what your errands for the day. What are you thinking about? Each one of us broadcasts, right? We broadcast because we affect the reality around us. And so, what are you broadcasting when you're wandering through the aisles shopping? Are you having a pleasant thought in your mind? Are you having a gentle energy? Are you enjoying the moment? Are you living in the now? Or are you listing all the things that you haven't gotten done yet? Are you beating yourself up because you failed at XYZ? Are you rehashing some argument that you had with someone in your
Yeah.
mind?
Yeah.
That is what you're putting off to the world. Just like when we walk past someone, those of us who are sensitive, which I'm sure your whole audience is very
Yeah.
sensitive,
Yeah.
when you walk past someone who's angry, sometimes that rubs off and you can feel it. We can do that to other people too. We just don't tend to see it from that space, and it's good practice. It's really good practice at mindfulness to do it at all times because the point of this life is to integrate that energy of connection, of, us all being together. It's almost like a video game where I am one player, but I'm also all the players. And I'm giving myself challenges by putting challenging people in my path, And sometimes it just takes as much as shifting the way that you see something to be able to change your attitude toward. Because there's a lot of people who don't make it easy to be nice to us, to be nice to them rather.
Yeah. Are you there? Okay. I thought I just did something. I actually gave out the link unfortunately online to us, so I wonder if people are going to try to link in.
Maybe, who knows?
Who knows? I mean, if you do want to come in, the link is now present. So if you want to come in the room with us and have a co-talk, a co-hosting experience, I really like the wild and the crazy. So as a host in this whole wonderful experience of hosting, I have learned that because I was in an art meeting yesterday with a couple of poets actually in our community, and within about a 20-minute frame of time, I actually bonded them in their duality and their contrast, and I actually too brought into light the I brought into light the relevance of their journey, and then I was able to help them see that by the two of the different levels, different intentions, right? Once again, coming together, that they actually had something to offer one another. So it was really beautiful.
Yeah. And that's very interesting. I literally just recorded something the other night. The synchronicities between us is so fascinating. I love to watch YouTube and I go all over the place, but I ended up on this interview that Jerry Garcia did. And he was talking about the way the Grateful Dead worked as a group. And he was saying there is no leader. There is no leader in this group, and there is no person who kind of guides the way in the songs. We trust each other enough to know that if one person says, I don't think this is right, we don't do it that way. We change it because everything works better when there is total agreement on it, or when there is agreement on what's happening, because it's not about one person leading or another. And I found that really fascinating, because it seems like, and this is part of our experience, and why so many people are awakened, that so many of us are looking for the differences in each other rather than looking for the similarities. We're looking for the reasons that person is separate from me,
Mm.
rather than seeing that they are connected to me.
Oh,
It is
wow.
that separation from divine, just like we talked about last week with You Are Not Alone. You feel alone because you feel separated from divine, because you see other people separate from you. But
Aw.
when you integrate it as it is me, and you are another expression of me having a different experience,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I sent all my little tendrils, the big I am sent all the tendrils into individualized experiences, and the
Mhm.
I am gets to experience all of it. And I feel like
Wow.
our awakening is that space where we get to bring the commonalities, we get to bring the similarities, we get to energetically see that we are all the same, having a different experience, that in our essence, we are that
Mm.
same energy having a different experience. That's our mission in my mind. That's what I think our mission is.
Well, I think your mission in the sense of your transmission there and talking about the I am that I am, which is a very Christed experience, a Christo experience. I think sometimes in the non-light, in the shadow self journey, in the moon of who you are, so to speak, there is a deepening that occurs on an individual level that happens where this is from my personal journey in the tree of life, but where you can kind of learn from a darkened experience how you could reflect out through the light. So it's kind of like in taking away the light, like as if there was no light in this room right now, you couldn't see me, you would just hear me. You get to sharpen different senses so that when you go in to clean up that mess on your channel of like your light and your individuality, and you can shine the sun of your own reality. You can shine the sun of the composure of your own reality. You then get to see that there was really nothing holding you back, that the darkness under your bed or in your closet or wherever it may lay, those experiences were also very fundamental to you sharing and
Yeah.
observing other people's uniqueness. Because when I'm giving like a business session and I'm helping someone think about a show or an idea that wraps up their business and allows them to do better, it isn't really just about me ever. It's about me holding space, realizing everyone here is important, but how everyone's reacting is depending on how they did their work. Did they come in doing their inner work? Did they see the value of themselves? Do they feel a part? So it's sort of like an unraveling, like a
Yeah.
braid unraveling. And as you're unraveling it and those three got together, you say, okay, that helps them figure out their next step into awareness, understanding, love, and the consciousness of love. Because love consciousness is what I am aiming at. I don't really like, I was the kid who was afraid of scary movies. So I talk about it all the time with my partner. You know, it's because like, what's gonna happen next? Oh my god, that's what I'm like to watch a movie with. So it drives people crazy. Like I can't just sit down. Like I'm like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? Right?
That's so funny. And
Grown
that's something.
adults. Okay, I'm a grown adult who cannot just sit and watch it. Like I'm just like,
Yeah. A lot of
yeah.
people, you gotta watch it like this, or, like, no, oh, wait, I want to see though, And a lot of us live our life like that. It's like getting a shot, right? There are people who are so terrified of a shot that it's the anticipatory fear that it will hurt that hurts them more than the actual experience of the shot,
Mm,
And we do that to ourselves, the anticipatory fear of what's going to happen next, or what is that person going to do, or how is this going to turn
yeah.
out? That then now we're spoiling our now because we're having fears about something that hasn't happened yet. We're writing a script for something that hasn't happened and focusing on the worries in that. I definitely get that. I get that. When you're dealing with other people, one of the best things you can do, first of all, is not take what they're doing personally, right?
Yeah.
Because if people react to you from their place of experience. And it usually has very little to do with us. If somebody at the grocery store, curses at you because you bumped into their cart, that might be a little bit of an overreaction, right? And what is your response to their anger? Do you have more anger? Do you meet their energy? A lot of people think I just meet people's energy where they are. But is that really, if you're on the journey, is that always a good idea? Like to meet someone at their energy, because you don't really know why they have that energy. You don't know why they're angry. You don't know what type of a life they're leading. A better space, or a space that's more healthy for us, would be to recognize that they're reacting that way because of some kind of pain, some kind of issue, some kind of wound, something that's going on in their life, not necessarily because I don't know, took the last thing of Wheaties off the shelf, or because you bumped into
Ah,
their cart, like that's really
oh
not the
goodness.
issue. And while that's a simple example, even with people that we love, I just talked about this week on my show, even with people that we love that we're having conflict with, right? You recognizing that whatever they're yelling at you about or angry at you about comes from pain, you don't have to react from defense, because it's not about you. Even if it was triggered by something that you did or an action that you took, their reaction and the way that they react is about their experience and what they've been through. And so to match their energy, you're now denying your own natural, like your own space of peace, and taking on their energy, just like empaths take on other people's energy, just like people trying to save someone take on their energy. We can do that in little tiny ways all day long and not even realize that we're adding to the burdens that we may carry, that we're adding to those spaces in us that are unhealed by allowing the world around us to put us in that emotion.
But like for me, because I'm seeing yes, 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 but I'm seeing as well, like with my course that I'm going to be offering soon called Spiritual Backpacking, that'll have like a mix between tarot, astrology, breath work, and seeing oneself in the light, and just sort of the organization of it. The one thing that I want to impact on people is those holdings, those withholdings, those leanings that are not for you, to where you're like divulging into like everyone else and everything else, and not seeing the beauty of your strength, and then working it in a community, a job, or growing your skill set. It's sort of like an abandonment of self, right? And when
Mhm.
you're in that state where, due to circumstances, which I completely understand, you are not ready to be your best self. And in no way do I think there's a time for that, for anyone just to be like, this was the day I was supposed to do it. It is an everyday process. It never stops. And it is a
Yes.
crazy road to be on once you truly accept the 100% power of being yourself. That
Yeah.
100% that you want to give yourself is a
Mm.
slow ride up the mountain.
Yeah.
And then once you're at the top of the mountain, you're going to want to sit there for a bit, and you're still going to get divergence. You're still going to get, distractions. You're still going to have wonderings. You're still going to hide behind the tree. You know,
Yeah.
you're
Because
not
we're
going to
still
be,
human.
yeah. And so, as you're mixing and matching with magical power, meaning understanding temperance, understanding that you are the mix of energy of the universe, that your inner world is actually, when adept, initiate, or sensitive, able to hone, understand energy.
Mhm.
What I'm recommending is let's get clear. So, what is your clarity? What does it mean for you to be clear? Because I know every vessel, every body is taking in their clarity from a different perspective. They
Yeah.
haven't come with my insight. They haven't come with my, like, say, my love for color, or how I could see things reflective on a surface that I can just eat over an entire lunch and just watch like a cat, whoa, 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 that's reflecting. Everything's reflecting in here, and really enjoy that lunch still, right? But that was happiness for me in
Mm.
accepting a role as a teacher, as a leader, as an artist, as a, at times a soother, but in a lot of intense, like, just wanting people to know you are loved for who you are. You are
Mhm.
loved for the being you are. Whatever mix of light and dark that entailed, I completely understand.
Mhm.
I've lived it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a journey. It really is a journey. And like you said, the end is death, but it's not the end. The end of the human experience, or at least in this particular lifetime, is death. And like I was saying, it's really an exercise in mindfulness. So for me, I think that clear or clarity is really radical self awareness. I try to pay attention to every time an emotion comes up in me where I feel judgment towards another person, or where I get annoyed with someone else, or it's not to say that we shouldn't. We're human. Like, we're supposed to have these experiences, but it's how we react to that emotion that comes up that really determines where we move forward. And it shows us the spaces within ourselves that still need healing. So if you see people on television, and you get angry about them marching for something, or about them picketing for something, or about them doing something, and you're getting angry about that, it's a really good space for us to look within and say, why am I angry about that? Okay, it's not about the issue. Is it injustice? Is it because I had injustice? Is it being falsely accused because I was falsely accused? Is it something that is triggering some sort of insecurity in me? Being honest with yourself without bluster, without bravado, without ego, although I don't like to use that word, but without that space in life where we're feeling like we have to project a particular image. When you're with yourself, when you project outwardly, that's your free will, that's your choice. But when you're just with you, if you can't be completely honest with yourself, you're shortchanging yourself on this journey. It is literally moment to moment, day to day, personal maintenance and paying attention and listening to your thoughts. If we think of it in terms of a vehicle, right? If we are the vehicle, you have to listen to the engine. You have to figure out, oh, is it wobbling a little bit? You have to pay attention in every moment. Otherwise, your car starts to break down little bit by little bit, and you might not notice it at first. It's just a little
Mhm.
ticking in the engine, it's just a little thump in one of the tires. But if you don't pay attention to it, it compounds and it gets worse. And it grows, it creates a spiral downwards of dysfunction in your vehicle. And the same thing happens to us. If you ignore when somebody makes you mad because, well, they shouldn't have done that, or if you ignore when you say something to someone sassy and you say, well, I'm just keeping it real, or if you're walking around and somebody says, you look really mean, what do are you okay? Like, you have to recognize these spaces in ourselves.
Yeah.
That's, you really shortchange yourself if you aren't completely honest, and not honest according to what the world sees or judgment, but what's inside. Hi, Francisco.
Yeah, he was here earlier. I hope he's out there still. He's awesome. I so one day want to have him on the show. He would be great addition for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, on the where are you sign that kind of you can see vaguely, it obviously is just emulating kind of like heaven or hell within. And we are the creators of those experiences. Now, for me, I consistently did not, through my dark passages, which I've just come out of one, did not
Mhm.
see what the lesson was like right away. And it was a bite in the ass in the end because, we want to believe we're on top of ourselves. You know what? It's better to just say there's always another lesson because
Yeah.
I think the climb up after self acceptance and realizing that emotional load was something you were putting on yourself and that you can eradicate it through self care techniques like, bath rituals, walks in the park, talking to a safe, comforting friend. It helps eliminate the depression, the dysphoria, dissociation that can come with a lot of those low end emotions. And once again, like my message coming in today to all adepts, sensitives, mediums, etc., is we're all sensitive, and love is something you need to give yourself.
Yeah.
Love is the
Yeah.
answer that lies within. Love is something in meditation we permeate into our communities. We are pillars for an energy, not necessarily a drama. So when you're trying to walk out of the drama and you feel that kind of connected to drama, that's still a piece of you. Just let it
Yeah.
go. And it's okay to safely let it go and know that the goodness within your goodness and your strength is reflective of that aspect of the divine. It's not necessarily needing a divine force to boom come in a room. I've had witness and come witness to spirits in my room and etc. or feeling divine energy around me to hold me and to keep me through the night. But I think realizing that you are the angel and that you could be the demon as well. It's all a part of your story.
Yeah, 100%. I've talked about this on my show before. When we imagine a yin yang with it's got the dark and the light, right?
Hmm.
When we look at it, it's a very static image, okay? And so that static image looks like the light and the dark are very separate things, right? With that one dot in each one of the things. But the way that the universe has shown me is that it's a sphere that spins, right? So that line starts doing this. And the faster it spins, the line blurs. Like when you look at a ceiling fan, you can't see if it's spinning fast, you can't see the individual twines. And so that yin yang with that dark and light actually is one sphere. And once it starts spinning with the energy of life, then it is this gray color, this in
Yeah, it's kind
between.
of funny because that's my main steez here.
Oh, there
So
you go. That's right. And it's gray. It's this mixing of the light and the dark because we are that within us. We are the light and the dark. We are the masculine and the feminine. We are everyone and no one. We are everybody and nobody. We are nothing and we are everything, all in the same package. That energy that you're talking about of love, I believe that the energy of divine, of God, of whatever you like to call it Fred, it doesn't make a difference, is unconditional love. And literally they've been able to, I sometimes the Heart Math Institute articles kind of cross across my thing, and they look at math from a spiritual standpoint. And there was a frequency that was found in deep space by the Hubble telescope, or telescope, satellite, by the Hubble that they sent out to take pictures of deep space. They detected a frequency that is the same frequency that they find when monks meditate.
Hmm.
And so to me, that's that accessing of the ambient energy of existence, of life, of divine. And it is what makes each one of us, animates our brains and makes our body move. You know, we have electricity in our brains. That's that energy. And so embracing unconditional love in all of its forms is kind of, for me, the life goal. Self-awareness, embracing unconditional love, and being able to have that for ourselves
Yeah, and so
and then
everybody,
radiate it outwards, not
yeah,
pushing it at all of them and
yeah,
hoping that that will fix us. When I say be nice to others, I'm not telling you that because being nice to them will give you brownie points. I'm not telling you that because being nice to them is going to fix you somehow. It's all a part of the experience. It's all a part of stepping into the integration of that divine energy into our everyday life. And especially if you're starting towards the beginning of your process, this is a really good space to start at, to just pay attention to how you're walking through life every day. Hello.
yeah, because we're generating. And the thing is if we're not like actually caught up on that three-dimensional chord, which is kind of like a push pull, like, have you ever seen like, when you had to play that game in gym and like you were like all the strongest people will go on one side of the rope and like all the weakest people that you're pulling and you're pushing each other all the time. And it's an interesting scenario. You get some
Mhm,
blisters depending on what side of the rope you're on. And you learn, right? You learn strength, which is part of Kabbalah, which is part of the tree of life, which strength becomes understanding, and strength and understanding then become wisdom. But
mhm,
if I'm in my wisdom self, I want to know the totality of my light because trust me, I have been looking outside of myself too. Even though I had trained myself nutritionally and I trained myself through what was being produced around me and I trained my eyes and my vision to not want to put negativity into my home, etc., I still was holding on to it about myself. I still felt that I was on some level unworthy. I still felt like there was this never ending pile of stuff that I was having to take care of. Like oh, woe is me. But it was because I actually was not willing to see that the light was within. And as I adapt to it and I see my partner through the fact that they have to hold their own light, and then actually for the exciting part of astrology, knowing by holding my own light, I get my own set of potentials, like my own. I decided to come on this strand of potentials, not your strand or their strand or what he thinks or what they think, but they're so individual, and keep it to myself. It's like the Russian proverb, when you have something amazing, keep it in your heart, keep it under your pillow,
Yeah. Yeah. There's a
right?
line from a Spike Jones movie or series, and it was, I'm defining myself for myself. And that's sitting
Yeah.
in that space of deciding that I say what I
Oh, I think
am as I walk through this
he
world.
wants to
Hi,
know
Luke.
how does it work? He wants a reading.
I just the tug of war thing was so like if we look at the tug of war thing as us, so one side, those big strong kids who all clump together are the negative voices in our heads, the just self-defense mechanisms. The other side is the stuff that's smaller, quieter, weaker, maybe weaker, put it in quotes. And uh, some people learn, I'm going to pick the side with the big voices because they win. But if we choose to lift up the smaller voices, to lift up the kindness, the love, the connection, then it's very different. Yes, I am going to pull runing cards. If you want to do that, please definitely let me know that you want to get a reading. Are we ready for that part of the show?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, he is on point.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to do my little speech then. Are you ready? Okay. Everything that I say to you comes through unconditional love. I don't know you. I'm not coming for you. There is no judgment in any of the words that I'm going to say. Um, you don't have to tell me what your question is. You don't have to write it in the chat. You don't have to elaborate, nothing. All I want you to do is have a clear question in your mind. Usually a how question works best, or thinking about a situation, focusing on a situation that you're looking for some guidance in. And if you just do that, then I will pull card for you.
So Luke, I want to pronounce that properly because I love the little Q in there. Luke, I don't know, but thank you for being here today. And Lee's going to go ahead and pull your ruin, and then from that point, she'll give you an idea sort of where you're at, and then we'll do some cards, and we'll see maybe what inner guidance you might be looking for today.
Okay, so I have your rune, and I've had this book. I say it every time. I've had this book since. Wait, hold on. Whisper the sound of your voice, and bring me into a place of love that only you can give, so I can live. That's very poetic, Patrick. Very poetic. So I've been using this book since 1993 when I got my first set of runes. I do always like to refer to the actual words because what I have found is that there are specific messages in the words for the person who asked the question. I don't know what your question was to the universe. I don't know what you're asking, right? Pay attention to anything that stands out to you because the message is for you. It's not for me. So the words that come out of my mouth, the phrases that I use, the imagery on the cards, the words in what I'm reading, what may mean something to you where it doesn't mean something to me. Okay.
I think he's
So,
okay with that. Yeah.
okay, perfect. So you have oh, wait, let's do it this way. Berkana. Okay. Berkana is the rune of growth and rebirth, and its symbol is the birch tree. So it is actually a form of fertility that fosters growth both symbolically and in actuality and in real life. It can grow in things around you, family matters, and specifically relationship to self or relationship with divine, with God, however you like to say it. It is a rune that leads to the blossoming and the ripening of a situation. It talks about the flow of beings, our flow into a new form, and it's gentle, and yet it's persistent, it's pervasive. What is called here, you need to pay attention, consider your issue with care and awareness, and disperse resistance then accomplish the work. So if you're sitting in a space of, I don't know if this is going to right, I don't know what to do, or I don't want to, try to push the resistance aside so that you can begin the work. Because if you step into the next phase with that, it's not going to work, I don't know how this is going to happen, with that thought in your mind, then it's going to challenge your forward movement. Dark corners need to be cleansed. Modesty, patience, fairness, and generosity. Once that resistance has been pulled away and you have, rectified that, then through staying the course, having faith, setting your mind, which are all, by the way, chapters in the book, then the blossoming, the rebirth can start. So let me get you a card. I actually brought a deck with me that I did not think I was going to, but right before I walked out the door, I'm in a different location. Right before I walked out the door, they told me to grab the cat tarot.
Oh,
and
I love it.
I'm just kind of thinking that this is the right one for you. The universe is kind of saying to me, this is the thing, that we need a little bit of gentle. The kitty cats are playful and gentle, and they have an energy kind of a flow. Eddie, what you doing today? Eddie, I'm going to play the word game with you. I got your invitation.
He loves cats. He loves cats.
Okay, good. Perfect. Okay. So tell me a little bit about that Percana. Tell me about what message we have for Luke. Okay.
I think Eddie might want one, or maybe Eddie's just saying hello. But look at the big chubby cat and the sun.
Yes,
So
this
sweet.
is sun. The sun is for me, it's the happiest card in the deck. Like, it speaks almost about that energy when you feel like everything is in line. I've talked about it on the show before. When you see something cute, you go, oh, that's the feeling of the sun. That space where you just, for that moment, you forget everything else in the world and you just feel that love. That's the energy of the sun right there. So let's see what else we have to say. The sun speaks about happiness. It speaks about, okay, they're telling me that that's the part that you have to focus on. Focus on the solutions, not the details of it, but focus on the finished result. Focus on the end result. Have you ever heard, there's a story about a sculptor who he would cut things out of stone. I don't remember which sculptor it was. And they would say, oh, the sculpture was already there. I just had to pull away the pieces of rock. He could already see, or they could already see the end result. So
that's definitely, that's how art works. Yeah.
Yes. So that sun is telling you really to focus on what the finished product looks like, whether that product is you, whether that product is a situation. Okay. Now we got a couple of cards that flipped here, and I dropped one of them, flew onto the floor. So I'm gonna step down. I'm a little shorty, so I'm up on a little bar stool. I gotta get down. All right, and that's going to be the surprise card for the ending of it. Okay, so the cards that jumped out, we have a lot of wands. Now, you got 3 cards with wands. Wands are about action. Wands are about moving forward. Wands are even fake it till you make it, because it's not faking it if you have faith that that is you, right? If you put on a happy face because you're sad, they say to do that, it actually changes your brain chemistry when you smile. It actually changes a situation when you look at it differently. So wands are all about that action. So we have the 2 of wands, which is about making a choice. It's like very clearly seeing 2 roads in front of you and making a clear choice towards one of them, okay? Then we have the Page of Wands. Oh, well, that way. The Page of Wands, which brings a message of movement, a message of action, a message of a plan. And not only a message of a plan, the Page of Wands has a bit of bravado in it, okay? So if you notice, they use a Siamese cat. If you know anything about Siamese cats, which if you love cats, oh, okay, good. That's a really good tip, to smile when you're not happy. Siamese cats are very stubborn. They have a lot of resistance, right, to what's coming because they want things to look the way they want them to look. So letting go of expectations on something and rather focusing on your tasks to achieve the goal, right? You want to have a picture of what it should look like, and you want to take the actions, have the plan to move there, but we can't dictate what the universe is going to give to us. We are creating the circumstances by our choices, and we can have an image, but we have to let go of the expectations of getting there. And the final one that you got is the King of Wands. So the King of Wands is the man with a plan. So anytime that the King of Wands comes up for me, it's really about creating a structure that you can work within, not creating a structure that confines you. Okay. So it's almost like building the walls of the house and then deciding that you want them to all be purple, green. You can do whatever, right? Within the structure of the house. And here's the surprise one that fell on the floor. So anytime something falls on the floor, it always, to me, has a little bit of extra zhuzh. Well, holy guacamole, it's another Siamese cat, and it's the star. And the star is about healing, okay? And if you notice, this cat, as cats do, is knocking over a glass of water. The water represents flow. On a traditional card, there's like a little a lady who's pouring water into a stream, and then it's coming back up into her pot from the other side. It creates a flow. The star is about self-healing, self-awareness, paying attention, and the fact that it's another Siamese cat within this same message really talks to me about your resistance and recognizing it when it pops up. So it's really just it's not bad to have resistance, but it's bad to ignore it, or it's bad to act in that space of resistance. Pay attention to it and just let it flow past you.
So, wow. That was beautiful. So, Luke, did you get what you needed to get from that reading? Because I thought that was it relevant? How did it reflect maybe as well? Everyone out there, if you look at the signet line here on unleashyourlight.org, I'm just going to put it out there. The book is awesome and you can pick it up online today, easily ebook style. I think it is crazy inexpensive just to.
Yeah, $2.99 for the ebook. One is $12 if you're in the state. I'll mail it to you for $12.
Yeah,
and
if
it
you
does
want a
have
copy mailed to you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got little journaly things in here, questions you can ask yourself. I use Bible verses. I use phrases from other religions. I use phrases from Martin Luther King to support each one of these chapters that the universe has given me. And I do readings. I love it. I'm so excited. I hope that helped you, Luke. I hope that you got something out of it. The fact that you love cats, that was beautiful to me because I was not going to bring this deck. Oh, good. Very, very good. Perfect. Oh,
You're
I'm so excited.
strong.
I have goosebumps, y'all. I still get
I
so
got that
excited when
feeling
the universe
too.
validates, you know?
Yeah, Luke, if you want any weekly or one-on-one counseling service attention for your spirit soul, she also does that. I am the creative, so I'm more into helping you build up if you want space help for you in a business sense, entrepreneurial sense, spiritual sense as well. You can contact me. But I have to self-admit, Lee Cara has helped me through some pretty dingy times in my life and help me unleash my light. So I'm pretty grateful for her presence.
I appreciate that. Yes, I just started doing spiritual consultations. They're an hour long. And in them, I may use runes, I may use tarot, I might just talk to you. But I consider myself almost like a conscious channel. So I bring whatever message the universe wants you to hear. I'm listening not with my human, but I'm listening with rather the energy, like the universe. And
Oh, Eddie
it
says he will come on the show. I said,
Yay!
wow, that's awesome. Yes, thank
He's so
you.
awesome. Eddie, okay, let's plug Eddie. Eddie and his lovely lady. You know, Eddie makes beautiful jewelry, you guys. So you have to go over and look at his page. And his lovely lady, Robin, who is just so fabulous. They have a new company and it is called, oh goodness, Alchemy, Oracle Alchemy or something like that. And she's making tinctures and herbal things and they're packaging up. They just made a batch of elderberry with like this super high quality elderberry stuff. So you definitely reach out. Eddie can put the link, right? Eddie, please put your
Yeah, the
information in
elderberry is
there,
my only
name
thing
in
I reach
there.
for. Like, I love elderberry for cold season. It's so perfect.
100%. Absolutely amazing. And
Yes.
you
Come
know
on
you're getting
on.
something with good energy. You know what I'm saying? Like to know the people, to
Made
know
with
their space.
love.
Yes. Such connection.
Yeah, this is an
Patrick
author
and
who
his
has come on. Yeah. So that's
beautiful.
again three. That's three now. So in 2 days, my next show is going to be about poetry and motion, and Dripping McMeaning is going to do a whole take on, the inner word and building that into the daily life spectrum for personal growth. So that's
Beautiful.
interesting. I've attracted one today again online. So Patrick, thank you. Patrick, definitely keep in touch with me. I'm going to have a show specifically designed for poetry and working with your spirit and writing collectively.
Yeah.
Cindy is here today. Cindy, are you still out there? Cindy?
Hey, how are you, honey? Do you want me to pull something for you? Is
Yeah,
you here with us?
yeah. I
Such a
think
sweet.
we have potentially because they've all kind of like poop, 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 poop. So they're all popping on nicely. So cute. And those
So
pack
anyone who wants
cards.
reading, definitely pop in and let us know. Let us know for sure. I'll pull some runes. I'll pull some cards. We'll chat. We'll drink some coffee.
Yeah, Eddie's new flex is the Oracle Alchemy.
Oracle Alchemy. Yes. Absolutely fabulous. They sent me a sample of one of their
Oh,
smoking
Cindy
blends.
says she would love a reading. Yay,
Yay! Okay.
Cindy.
So, Cindy, focus on your question in your mind. You already know the drill. You know I'm not coming for you. There's no judgment. It's coming through unconditional love. The message is for you. I just want you to be clear in your mind of what you are asking the universe. Or I just want a general message. Whatever it is, between you and the universe, you don't have to put it in the chat. I don't need to see your question to transfer, to bring the message from the universe.
Beautiful.
Okay,
I'm really
Cindy.
interested in that elderberry. Like, I think, Eddie, if you could give me some more info on that elderberry, I really, really would love that.
I know that it's a limited supply because they got very specific kind of elderberry that's like a higher quality, because she put it in her post that they like went out of their way to get the best kind. So I'm sure that it packs a punch, you know.
Oh, Cindy's having a full body smile. I really love that.
Good.
I love
I
it.
love her. Okay, so you have Manaz. Manaz is the rune. I keep this. I keep tilting it in the wrong direction. There we go. Okay, Manaz is the rune of self. Oh, they're making more today. Okay, good, good, good. It's the rune of self. Okay, so let's take a look. Like I said, I always do like to look directly in the book because the message is for you. The words are for you. The way that I express them is for you. The message is not for me. I don't know what you're asking. Okay, starting point is self, and its essence is water, it's flow. Only clarity and the willingness to change can be effective at this point. A correct relationship with yourself is primary because from that flow all other right relationships with others and with divine. Stay modest, no matter how great you are. And be devoted and moderate, because then you're having this true direction. Be in the world, but not of it. But don't be closed-minded. Don't be narrow. Don't be judgmental, but rather remain receptive to the things that come up, that flow within you and that flow around you. Strive to live ordinary life in a non-ordinary way, which to me talks about that mindfulness of every moment, living every single moment. There is only now. Bashar says there is only now. This is the only time that exists, and we are the ones who are moving through time. There is only this moment right here. Nothing less is called for you. This is a time of major growth and rectification. Correcting things must come before progress. Your field must be tilled before you plant the seeds. A garden must be weeded before the flowers are able to fully bloom. And the self must know stillness before it can discover its true song. Don't try to seek credit. Don't try to seek validation from others. Be content to do your task for its own sake. Be content for your creation, your transformation to be for its own rewards, not because of what it's going to do for you in the world out there, but rather what we do in here. And the interesting thing about this is that if you look at this room like this, if you split this down the middle, you have, oh, wait, there we go. This room, which is Wunjo. It looks like a P. So when you split this down the middle, you have the rune for joy, both forward and reversed. Okay. So it talks about just what we were talking about in this show, that duality within each of us, that space where we are both seeking joy and pushing it away in the same space, you know? So it's really paying attention, to those spaces where we reject the love of divine, where we reject that hug, where it's saying you're doing a good job, because we get so down on ourselves, because we get so engaged, so engrossed in our own punishment. You know, we're almost hardwired for punishment because we're taught from a little kid to punish. Well, when we become an adult and we do something wrong, who's spanking us? Who's punishing us? Who's scolding us? It's us.
I could take that on a
right?
couple of levels.
Well, yeah, okay, we're not going there though, but that's a different show. That's a different show, woman. We'll do that on a late night edition. We'll talk about spirituality. Yes, please.
I actually, kind of funny enough, Lee, and for all the viewing audience, I have another show that's on its way by lovely Leanne Francis from Canada. And she is a renowned sex and intimacy author and speaker.
Ooh, that'll be fascinating. I love that.
I am so full. I am so complete. And I love everyone out there in this community, anyone watching. I want to thank Debbie Garcia for this lovely place to come and be safe and create sacred space with one another, and everyone who's on the journey just to get to that divine love.
Heck yeah. Let me pull you a card here, Cindy, to back that up a little extra.
We got a poem actually too. Our poet Patrick here. Not sure. I think Patrick is coming out of Canada. I'm not sure if he is. I'm pretty sure from my records, but he says, "As I love you, the presence of your soul astounds me, and the beauty of who you are, and there I remain."
Oh, thank you so much. That's beautiful. Such a way with words. Such a way with words. I love it.
It was almost Sufiist, like the Sufi poems.
Oh, yeah.
They're very, like, Rumi's poems are always just like, you are complete love, right? There's just, let's stop separating ourselves, people.
For sure. For sure. So Cindy, you got one of my favorite cards, and it's fascinating because the Manaz, I'm going to show the page just as the validation for you. The Manaz is the first, number one. It is the number one rune in the cycle, in the rune list. You also got the Fool, who is card 0. So it's all about a new journey. Now, the Fool, a lot of people think it's about being foolish, it's about not being prepared. For me, the Fool card is really about stepping into the next phase without the baggage of your past, without the baggage of the voices that are getting at you, without those things that we beat ourselves up about. If you could step into the next phase of your life with the knowledge you have gained, but without the memories of the wounding and the pain and the trauma that you have suffered, how would that change your journey moving forward? And this is the space to be in, that focusing on clarity within self, willingness to leave those things in the past, the willingness to step forward with nothing more than a little rucksack and a flower in your hand. And the other card that we got, we're full of wands today, Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands. So it's about having a structure, having a plan, but also the Queen of Wands is very charismatic, and she's very much able to, through her kindness, able to, through her knowledge of herself and the way that she moves through the world, she's able to achieve what she's trying to achieve. She's I talked about that fake it till you make it energy. She's very much, I decided that this is who I am and this is how we're going to move through life. And for me, she's got this little sunflower in her hand. The sunflower is on the sun card. It's like the imagery of the sun card. So it's also talking about happiness and being willing to let that happiness into your life as if the pain didn't happen. Because the pain is there for us to learn a lesson, right? It's not there for us to torture ourselves. So once we've learned the lesson, we don't have to keep the books, right? When you go to college or when you go to high school and you learn your algebra, you don't keep the algebra book for the rest of your life. You probably may not remember algebra either, but your times tables or whatever it is, you don't take those things, the painful things, with you through the rest of your life. You have to leave those there and bring the message, bring the lesson with you into the next phase. Good, Cindy, I'm so glad. Oh my gosh, I get so giddy. I get so giddy about it.
Not only just Cindy, but Luke is still in our audience and he's loving it up too, see? And now Patrick, our poet's coming in with something new. Life has for
you a
you.
special gift. Oh, I'm sorry, to open, but you need to put your hands on the wrapping in all its colors and beauty. Well, Nicole knows all about colors and beauty with all of her art going, you know. I love that.
Oh my God, honestly. So I was sitting at my like little mini celebration of coffee latte, which by the way, he forgot the espresso again. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm sitting there still trying to love it to death, obviously, because I just love it, the fact of where my life is right now. And I literally had that moment. Like I literally look for color in everything. And when I can't see it, it's just like, why isn't that person wearing a little more color? I'll put a little color there. It's almost like, and with fashion and stuff, so there's so many levels of it that I
Yeah,
would
you're
love
like
to look
painting the
at.
world now with your own paintbrush.
Yeah, so if you think about back to the beginning of what you were saying, how our minds are reflecting one another's journeys, and how I came in with, when we're loving in the light within, we actually can bring that into our self meditation and see the world. And this isn't just like a breathing om meditation. This is like a worldview meditation I do. And I see every corner block and everybody around me, and I'll visualize happiness, right? Like
Yeah,
I know it may not be there, and I know there's dark shadows lurking in the corners of people's existences, but I think
right.
when we permeate through that and we unleash the light within, ooh,
Yeah. It's
so
not
great.
about seeing the love out there and then recreating it in ourselves. It's about creating it within us and pushing it out into the world. You know, oh yay, Cindy, I'm so glad that helped you, because if we only reflected what we saw in the world, then we're creating an echo chamber and a spiral downward. Somebody, and that's us because we're the awakened, why else would they have woken us up, is supposed to look at the world through the eyes of divine. I feel like I don't do like the meditation stuff much, but Tristan, but what I do is every moment in my life is a meditation. I try to keep myself in the space of seeing, being the observer and seeing it from a bigger picture while enjoying each moment as I step through it. I mean, of course, you know, things happen, you know, poo happens in the world, but it's really about, it's like a walking meditation to see others through the eyes of divine, to see the world as if I am the parent who loves their child all the time, even when they misbehave, who
Yeah.
sees what they do and
Yeah, we're
still
all just
goes,
at a level, like literally back to like why I was posting earlier. I was posting this spiral because it's talked about in Stream of David as well too, but I don't know. I haven't taken Stream of David yet. I'm actually quite interested, but it's um it's about understanding that we will all fumble and technically emotionally hold on to, and then as light workers withdraw into our lessons. So we kind of have the benefit of knowing and standing in that power of light. So being touched in with our emotions and tackling personal behavior, it's sort of like looking at, because I'm a spirit seer, it's sort of like looking at the worst demons and saying, "Now I got you," and literally just my light gives you another chance. Poof,
yeah, yeah, because
right?
it's an aspect of ourselves. Everything is an aspect of ourselves because we're all connected to the one. We're all connected to the, you know, to God.
Mhm.
And so because of that, the light, whatever you want to call it, some people get very very triggered by the word God. It's just whatever you want to call it. Call it Fred, it doesn't make a difference. It is that experience of recognizing that that is literally a piece of you having a different human experience. And so if you knew that that was you cursing you out, would you look at yourself and go, oh, cute, look at you being all mad at me, you would be more loving towards yourself, hopefully. And if you're not, then that's a space where you start. Are you loving with yourself? When you do something wrong, do you beat yourself up? When you pull into the wrong lane, do you curse yourself out like you would curse out someone who cut you off? Like recognizing how we interact with others is often a reflection of how we are interacting with our own internal dialogue. And something that I have said many times is, who do you think you're having that conversation with in your mind? Who do you think is saying all that mean stuff, all of that bad stuff, all of those doom and gloom and naysaying and whatever? It's you. It's you. You're having a conversation with yourself, and all you have to do is change the conversation.
It's a
And
tone of
sometimes
your
you are
consciousness, yeah. It's kind of
sometimes you
funny
argue
because
with yourself.
if you think in psychology, just in the last 100 years, we developed the idea, I think it was a little more than 100 years now, of collective consciousness, right? And then my friend Francesco, I don't know if he's still out there in the audience at all, but good friends of my sister on her network as well. We talked about, like, the 144,000 Alice A. Bailey and the esoteric minds of the 1930s were deliberating that there was a collective of us that would be the light workers of tomorrow. And
Mhm.
that number sounding 144,000 doesn't sound like a lot. Maybe to some people doesn't sound like a lot. But I'm going to tell you that I think if I had 144,000 light workers in one stadium, I'm pretty sure we blow up the world.
Oh
We would
yeah.
bring so much light, and we would resonate in our light and our powers, that life could live magically, that we could see the forest for the trees at all times and understand the abundance is always here, and that lack is only a state of mind. There is no lack.
Right. Right. And that really brings us back to the conversation that we had at the beginning of finding the commonalities in people, finding the shared experience and rejoicing in that shared experience rather than always looking for the differences. If our world religions, along with our spiritual community, were to all focus on the common shared thing, which is love of God, love of divine, love of the light, and that word of love each other as I have loved you, right? Love yourselves, then we would start to shift things. I think I told this story on the show last time we were on about there were these monks in DC. Crime used to be really bad. And they brought these monks into DC, and they didn't walk around in mission. They didn't walk around and talk to people on the streets. They didn't go up to people committing crimes and say, don't do crimes. They meditated in DC for something like 6 weeks or something. And they found that crime dropped by something like 20%, like a huge percentage. It just dropped. And so I think it's really fascinating that it was literally just these monks sitting and meditating on peace and togetherness. When we recognize that others are extensions of us, how can we deny them love? How can we deny them kindness? How can we deny them food? How can we deny them a safe place to live if that is an extension of us? And so to be spiritual and then to see others as separate is a contradiction. It's a contradiction in terms. If you are a spiritual person, then our goal is to see others as we see us. That they are separate in the physical, but we are connected in the what do they call those? The ethers, in the 5D, in the woo-woo collective spirit, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it. And as we change, as we evolve, as we embrace love within ourselves, even if, a lot of people have been stuck in the house for a really long time, and some people are still stuck in the house. Even as we are alone, the work that we do on ourselves affects the collective. The work that we do on ourselves is the most important work because it radiates outward. It affects the collective in a positive way. And those of us that are paying attention to this are lifting our collective energy up. I used to do some shows and be connected with Rory Campbell, the shaman poet. And he used to say this thing, and I know that a lot of people have said it, but about a net, right? So if you're pulling a net out of the water, there's a part that still dips down, right? But so where are you on the net? You know, are you focused on yourself? Are you focused on love? Are you working on seeing your brothers and sisters through those eyes of divine? That's what lifts up everything, because it affects the energy of the entire world. It affects the energy of our experiences. And just like what we said at the beginning, when you walk into a room, you can change the energy of a room, right? If you can change the energy of a room, imagine what you can do to your street, to your block, to your city, to your country,
Yeah,
just through
so
your individual
like
stuff.
even right now I can do a demonstration. Like if all of us just want to go within for a second, like really think about right in the heart of your chest, inside of your chest, and you breathe in. And you breathe out. And inside of like the chest line there where your heart exists, which is in obvious divine love, we're in a divine love sacred space. You can just feel the wellspring of peace, love, and unconditioned for yourself grow. And all that dark matter that you held on to and all that wonder about why and all that feeling of separation just so gets absolutely hugged and brought out, and the power of your love that's unconditional, that's you, that's why you're here, your unique, wonderful self is holding space for yourself.
I love that. So,
And in that space for yourself is all that exists. So, our lung capacity actually, our lungs, when they take them out of our bodies and they see the design, the divine design, reflect the inner working of leaves and trees. And without leaves and trees, we really don't exist, guys. We need the fresh air in our lungs. We need to be a part of nature just as much as it's in our design. And that can allow for a lot of space for opening and clearing energy, especially if you're empathic or sensitive or you're collecting stuff of other people's. Just stop
yeah,
and breathe.
yeah. It's enough to carry our own stuff, you know, and whatever works for you works. For some people, it's nature. For some people, it's music. For some people, it's dancing. You know, whatever works for you to kind of get the energy flowing, to break it up. I have a friend that calls me when they feel like the energy is too heavy, just to break it up, because I laugh too loud and I curse too much. And it just lightens the mood for her immediately just by having a conversation. We don't even have to talk about anything. Like, it's literally like 3 minutes, and it just breaks it up, you know, it just breaks up that space that we do to ourselves. So let's see, Patrick, I'm going to read your poem in a dramatic voice.
Uh,
Nature in soul, I hear your call to me. It has reached the depth of the meaning of life to be. If only I could reach the sound of your heart beating through the voice of your chirp in the music of nature that you bring to me. I hear now that I am alive with you, and your call goes not unheard. Lovely. It's beautiful. It's like beatniks back in the 60s when you would play the bongos and the whole room would do this. I love it. Robin!
I think it's funny because, like, in the 90s and 2000s, we were doing that collectively on our rave parties. Like, we had drums and circles and movement, and we had music from all over the earth celebrated. They were white record. We called them the white label parties because
Mm,
literally, like, these DJs would walk in with records and put them on, and they weren't labeled,
yeah,
right?
nice.
And they had the sacred sounds of Brazil or something. And you're just like, you'd see different cultural people with their it
Right.
was it
And
was
that
very
pounding, it's connected to the heartbeat. And that's one of the reasons why music like that, why drumming like that, why sound pulls that in. Okay, let's
now,
see, Luke.
yeah, so
Because
Luke actually
I'm just getting over my people pleasing. So
yeah.
I'm with you here.
Luke
I've been a
also,
people.
just to let you know, mentioned in a previous that he took the Stream of David, which is an offering on the Spirituality Gone Wild network. and it's a
Mm,
course. Yeah, so it's a course, and he was reading since a very young age and intuitive. So thank you, Luke, for sharing that as well.
yes. I'd been a people pleaser all my life, he says, and had never looked at myself or worked on myself. I was never happy, as now I see how draining that was. Self love and focusing on our own growth is so very powerful. So true. So true. I found that I was doing for others, hoping that they would love me. And I didn't recognize that I was doing it. I just thought I'm being a good person. And then over and over again, I would find myself being taken advantage of, being used, being gaslighted, being manipulated, and not realizing it, or realizing it and saying and making an excuse for them. Oh, that's just how they are. And I don't take it
No,
that
it was
way,
because
you know?
you didn't feel important.
Right. It was because I felt unloved at some level. As much as I was loving myself, I still had this space of people pleasing in me. Oh, Robin. That's so funny. I was saying your name. I spoke you into awakeness, at least in the physical. Oh, thank you, honey.
'Cause that's what you truly are. Like, so when I was
Oh,
doing my mini meditation and I was saying, because I think I'll pull a card for a collective, I'll just pull like a collective
yeah.
reading. And I felt like because I've ascended on a certain level in my beingness and I know the difference between my light and dark now, I can say when I was saying and feeling it intuitively in my body that I could see the dark parts just turning to light. Like, just
Yeah.
imagine the power when they spoke of Christ laying of hands, and
Right.
imagine that power permeating your being and giving that light to anyone within reason and healthy boundaries that really could use the process, that really could use to be the fullest they could be in this lifetime.
Yeah. Because if we see the Christ consciousness, the Christ, as an expression or a representation of unconditional love, right? Of the love of divine. If we see that,
Yep.
then Christ laying a hand is actually almost like an allegory for us doing it to ourselves, for us using love to shine the light into those dark spaces of ourselves and of others, you know? And so there are ways to, and yet it is a difficult thing for some people to grasp the concept of an abstract energy being loving. And so we have these representations in history, in religions that represent that love energy, that represent that wisdom, because it's easier to accept it if you have a person in your mind than if it is just an abstract thought. It's like some people don't get abstract art, they just can't do it. But if you put the same type of energy into something that has trees and flowers, they'll love it, you know? So not everybody gets it in the same way, and that's awesome. That's beautiful, you know? However you get it, you get it. It doesn't make a difference.
You make me laugh. I just love you, Lee. Like, you just, and not everyone gets that abstract. I'm like, I know, trust me. Like, I do it as my sidekick for the rest of my life. Like, yeah, the conscious us reading. So Luke and Robin and Cindy, Patrick, I want to welcome you all for my reading. I'm going to do a collective reading based on just collective consciousness going into I think we have Taurus in this full moon, don't we?
Hmm.
Taurian moon, and we have a big, like, is it a lunar eclipse coming today or tomorrow?
I think so.
Anybody
I don't
else?
know. I'm not the moon girl, but I think there's something happening because that
Well,
moon is looking
slowly
more
but
and more beautiful.
surely, this girl is going to be understanding it because tonight I'll be telling you my 101 of astrology. Had to put
There you
that
go.
to rest yesterday. I could not
Yeah.
take it anymore. I was like, I have to learn this. So yeah.
And we're going to talk about that tonight, right? We're coming back on tonight.
Yeah, we are. We're coming back on tonight. So
Mhm. I think 8 o'clock, y'all. You got to do a little shameless plug. I'll do the little shameless plug while you're pulling a card. 8 o'clock tonight. And it's going to be focused on Nicole's going to talk about some astrology stuff and about stepping into your sign fully, or recognizing and using the characteristics of your sign to see those spaces in yourself as a reflection of what you can do, not as a limiter, but rather as an expander, right? It's going to be
oh, here we
exciting.
got it. Look, and meteor showers. Thanks so much,
Woo!
Robin.
Oh, I'll bet you guys can see them real good out where you live at. I'll bet the sky is like there's such little light pollution where you're at. You watch, y'all invited me to come visit you. I'm telling you, you better watch out because next spring it might be me and Nicole both descending on you. You never know. You never know.
I'm sorry, but Lee, I just have to take the might out of that because we will be.
There you go. There you go. Look out. We're coming.
Power of your thoughts, power of your words.
That's right. That's right.
So, guys, we're going to start with trust issues. So, anybody out there, what is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? If you are not trusting your own intuition and you're still blame, shame, it's the other person, start looking within because you don't want to go into this moon with that kind of attitude. So, I would suggest stop self doubting and just take a good look in the mirror. Take 5 minutes for yourself, whatever that looks like. Take a dose of vitamin C, take a long bath, and self reflect. So, but in the midst of it all these changing, interchanging energies of our universe, answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? So, what is your soul calling you to do? I don't know if you're really able to get that because the bright light can't really reflect it. But it is a lovely lady looking over. So again, contemplative time, be available for those energies and realize each one of us has our own unique template we're working on here, okay, people? It's all our own template. So how I receive energy and you is all your own blessings and divine gifts. And where are you being called to in your journey? So are you looking for a new journey? Do you want something of a new destination? Is the journey within enough? Unless you want to get into some different type of transportation, whether that's through oneself or through a train ride, a bus ride. I particularly like train rides at this time of year in Canada, but we're just out of COVID, so this type of stuff can start again. So, yep. So
Yeah.
you can enjoy the earth in so many wonderful ways and respect yourself and your body while you do that.
Yeah, 100%. That corresponds to that two of wands that I pulled for Luke earlier. That looking at the destinations, looking at the choices ahead of you, to like stepping into it fully. And just one thing I want to add to that first little bit that you said, let go of the words what if. Let go of that space of what if this happens, but what if that happens? Stop trying to figure out ways to fail. Stop trying to look for ways that things will not come together and focus on the solution, being open to whatever the universe brings,
Yeah,
and have
because you're
faith that
wearing
you're taught.
essentially you since the moment of birth decided to wear the many hats of you. And when you're wearing them proudly, the many hats of you, and you're not looking to go out solve the world's problems today, but to be a part of the affluence of yourself, then you're bringing your light to the table.
Yeah.
That's
One,
not the old self. There's no crawling back into that caterpillar self. Like you have to fly. You have to bring your new self completely forward.
bring yourself. Bring yourself, as Robin says.
I know I loved it. Yeah, she said or saying, I'm trying. There's no trying. There's do.
The synchronicities, Robin, holy cow. Yesterday a woman came into the little place that I'm helping out in, and she was a very talented medium in her 70s and came over and read me basically. And she said to
Wow.
me, she said, you've been doing so, your root chakra is so clear, you've been doing so much work on it. I said, I'm trying. She said, don't say I'm trying. She says, don't say that. And
Wow,
I,
look at
I
me, the little mystic here. I caught on to it too. And I was like, not gonna let that
Yep,
happen.
that's right. That's right. So it's that paying attention in every moment to the words we're using, to the energy that we're bringing. I'm not trying, I am doing. I am being. I am changing that energy. I am working on it. I am changed. I am every day, I am changed more than I was before. Every day I'm healed a
Yeah,
little bit more and I'm grateful. I
that's
say
your
that
being. Yeah,
single,
that's your being.
yeah,
I want to
100.
share like a little medium from the other side story or a vision I had when my grandmother passed. So I just felt that. So when we go into the light, or my godmother as well. So when they both passed within a 2-week period, and meditation upon which I did and understanding, I both saw the other side for them and they came to me. So when my grandmother went, she ascended. And the vessel you're in right now as like we undermine it and we don't give it the love and attention it needs 24/7, it is nothing compared to your switchover in heaven. It is like emanating light from God. It is like the joy of whatever. Like, so when my grandmother went, she ascended. She's an ascended angel. And then when my godmother went, she actually rose in her most beautiful, happiest teenage self. And it was just this amazing flowing energy of herself, which she had harbored and stuck out with in all her commitments on earth at that time. It like, I'm telling you, man, it is not scary. It is not. The other side is a beautiful experience.
And imagine if you could bring that joy of that moment of ascendance into the now, into the now.
That's what
If
you are
you could
now. Yeah.
access it at any time, if you could literally, like we did earlier, take like 5 minutes to connect with that divine energy when you're feeling like the worst, I mean, that's the magic. That's the magic. And we can all do it. Everybody can do it. Just have to be willing. You just have to be willing to love yourself enough to let it in and to feel it fully. Because it can be very scary when you've led a lifetime. Our darkness is very comfortable, and many of us wear it like our comfiest robe and slippers, and we do not want to give it up because we know what that feels like. But many of us don't know what that ascendant love feels like, what that moment of connection feels like. And sometimes the thing that we don't know is scarier than what is that? There's a term for that. A comfortable hell is better than an uncomfortable heaven for some people.
It is,
But
and
let's
it's
not be.
still like in the idea and the mission of the soul. Okay, so without the light and the dark, we have here, we have our light, we have our dark, we have those. We have that to harness. Don't wallow in the fear of it, and you will wallow, because sometimes
Yeah,
if you wanted to witness that darkness from your light space, it's not going to be comfortable and not meant to be comfortable.
yeah.
But I think what I've learned is don't harness it to not understand you're powerful, because
Hmm.
that's the alchemy. The alchemy of your spirit is to be able to take, as a co-creator, creator, God, goddess, under what I feel is Father, God, Mother, Godhead. And the bigger perspective is that you entwined your beingness into a light, dark frequency and you change the matter of it. That's magic. You
Yeah,
change matter through thought, breath, and action. You're
yeah.
powerful no matter what. That's the beingness of being on a planet at this time, because it is the age of Aquarius. It is the time for spiritual evolution. No, we're not going to see it in 10 years. It's going to take 20 years of work. Let's do the work.
Yes, yes. Last night I watched something that I don't usually watch, and I'm sure everybody's familiar with it. It's like My 600-Pound Life or My 1,000-Pound Life or whatever it is. And it's a show about, very overweight people who have these lives where every moment is pain. Every movement that they make is pain. Okay. And I have a relative who's in this same space. The interesting thing watching it is that they go into the doctor or they're struggling with their diet because they make you lose weight first when you want to go in and get the surgery, right? And they're like, it's hard. It's hard not to eat. It's hard not to this. It's hard not to that. But then their whole life is hard. Like what they're doing is hard. Having to have your partner lift you up and wipe out your creases every day is hard. Having to not being able to walk is hard. The
Mm.
pain that they're sitting in is hard. And yet they would choose that over the difficulty that comes from trying to eat something differently, right? And this is not a judgment, but we do this in our personal lives. If we're sitting in pain and we're sitting in depression and we're sitting in sadness, and somebody tells us to try to shift our perspective, to try to let love in, to try to love ourselves, we'll say, it's too hard. I can't do that. It's so hard to do that. But isn't it hard to live the way you are? Isn't it hard to carry the pain that you're carrying? Isn't it hard to keep nurturing these
Right.
wounds?
And
And
I think as practitioners of the light, as simple as Unleash Your Light is showing us that the journey can be, really a book like yours needs to be in that person's hand. Really, even when I was going through my developmental phase with after my surgery, opioid use, and a certain amount of, let's just call it challenges, I could have
Yeah.
used that kind of book in that moment, right? Where no one's going to hand you a warm blanket, where you are street bound, where you are confined in a room, where you may not have that moment of light. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I need to excuse myself
Ah,
momentarily.
that's okay, everyone. I'm just going to take over for a bit. But um, with that being said, Unleash Your Light kind of has that really beautiful, simplistic take to it, where we, as people practitioners and wise ones, can really, not have to do a heavy read in order to get the benefit, but you simply can get a copy of yours today if you look on to the website unleashyourlight.org. And and with that being said, I hope everyone does get their own copy, because next week's show will be chapter 3. So you might want to reread it before we go in. Again, just bringing in your own light. And each person who's here, whether you take courses or you think you're primary school spirit, or you think that you're intermediate, do not think yourself less or more advanced. Just keep advancing and bring forward your knowledge. The comments today have been so powerful. My soul feels so uplifted. I feel so blessed by this experience, and I hope that everyone in their equanimity, in their beingness, is experiencing themselves more fully and completely after the show, and does something more wonderful for yourself today and pass it on. Right? Let's keep it passed on. And anybody out there have any other questions? Because I think we're coming pretty close to the end. Yes, I agree, Robin. It is. It's as if we are the only ones capable of alleviating our own boo-boos, our own discrepancies. Again, too, just to mention to Robin, because I know you're running a spiritual business, I do private projects for people if they want bigger pieces done, maybe for your studio space, your home space. Um, and yes, Robin, I would like to definitely get into some cross marketing with you. I love anything that's naturally made or made with love, for sure. Oracle, Oracle Alchemy, My
Bliss.
Bliss. Wow. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
back.
I have, before my laundry gets delivered, I have a whole probably 5 to 10 minutes left here for you. So, however you want to use it, let's do it.
However, I want to use it. All right. Do you want me to pull a card for the collective also?
Yes, yes.
All right, let's do something gentle. We'll do something gentle. I have this beautiful deck that I got in Chicago when I was visiting my daughter. It's watercolor. And I find that the imagery, first of all, the cards are labeled differently. Yes, her stuffed animals. Okay, so that cow, I always think that he's telling that llama some sort of like shade or some tea, like he's telling him a really important secret. It's cute, right?
So this is my collection, because the first 2 years of my engagement, my partner likes to come home with strange stuffed animals for me, and they were on my bed for the longest time, and I kept feeling like, this is just, I'm an adulthood now. I really need to do something. So I just used them back there for my show. Yeah, thank you so much, Luke. That was sweet of you. Yeah.
So the first card that we pulled here, we have the
This is the
three of,
collective reading, everybody, and then we're
yeah,
gonna get
for
going.
the
Yeah.
for the group that's here right now, the three of discs, and it says work here. So the three of discs is about building a foundation of collaboration, like interconnecting with other people. Oracle, alchemy, bliss. Okay, my bad.
No, it
It's
was actually a collective bad.
yes, connecting with other people to build a foundation for our work here, for what we're doing. So it's interesting that you guys were talking about Robin's business and the interconnect, the ways that we can support each other. So that was the one that came out face up. So then we have two of them. Oh, look at this. Okay. So we have 2 of them that came out face down. So we have the Queen of Wands again, which this is the second time that the Queen of Wands has come up during this hour. The odds against pulling the same cards from 2 different decks is 1 to 7,240 or something like that. So we have the Queen of Wands, which the Queen of Wands is about that confidence, creating a plan, standing in your truth. It is about the knowing of you, the knowing of you. And if you notice, she's got this cheetah down here or leopard, however you want to see it, with that one gorgeous leg. Like she's showing that leg like, what is that? Jennifer Lopez did in that green Versace dress, right? And the last card that we got is the 9 of Cups. The 9 of Cups, which in this particular deck is bliss. Now, for me, personally, I have a personal connection with the 9 of Cups card. And the connection that I have is I call it a smug mother effer. Okay, that 9 of Cups is a smug mother effer that sits there and says, see, I told you everything was going to work out. See, I told you when you love yourself, everything works out, because it's connected to a person in my life that has since passed who used to have that kind of attitude, who would laugh at me. Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, that's the name of your business too, isn't it? You literally just typed that on the screen before
So,
this
an
card came
FYI
up.
as well, Robin, my sister's company, which she inspired me to start my company, which got me involved with all of this type stuff, intuitive stuff. It is called Blissed Out Network, and she is a eco-friendly earth yoga based lady who does a company called Made with Love, which is all different kinds of jewelries. And then, of course, her crew is like everything from different doctors, teachers, and speakers on how to live more closer to the earth and healthier every day. So
It's beautiful.
it's a pretty big
That seems to be
enchilada.
the word of the day. That seems to be the word of the day, y'all. So if you take anything from this, told you so, told you so. Exactly. That's exactly what I hear in my head. Told you, told you, told you, told you, told you so. For those of you who don't know, all you got to do is look up the Told You So dance on YouTube from Will and Grace. You'll get it. You'll get it. Fabulous Debbie Reynolds. That's like the word of the day. It was bliss, right? We're talking about being nice to each other. It is bliss. It is bliss. When you exist in a state of bliss, it's easy to be nice to others. It's easy to not take what they're doing personally, you know? It's easy to step into that space of just let it go. It doesn't matter if that person disrespected you. It doesn't matter if they yelled at you. It doesn't matter if they feel some type of way about you. You just send them love. You just send them joy. You just send them bliss. You just sit in your own space of energy and let them sit in whatever energy they're sitting in. Don't carry it with you, you know?
So, everyone, just to let you know, tonight's show will be an astrological look at the 101s, the sun, the moon, and your ascending sign. I myself will be giving some guidance with some help, and Lee will actually as well be on tonight. We'll be doing readings again and insightful discussions on how energies can impact us, how to stay in our greatest light. I hope you enjoyed the readings today, the receptivity, and the mini meditation. And as well, for anyone out there who is interested in having an individual piece of work done by me, you can actually see me at Designing Artist, my Facebook page. And yeah, so we can just proceed into the evening self. And yes, yeah, I got to see that Told You So dance. Maybe tonight we can hook it up for the show.
It's funny.
So wonderful, everyone. I am so grateful for you being here. Thanks for coming out on the network and continue to keep tuning in. Please, again, if you can get the book for next week, I think it's a great idea. Have your own
Yeah.
copy on hand.
And
And
next
then,
week is a heavy one because we're going to talk about being nice to yourself.
oh God, no.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's much easier to be nice to others than it is to be nice to ourselves. So that's what we're going to dig into next week. It's a little heavy, but you know, we can do this. We can do this.
Yeah. So anybody too, if you want to get on next week, you can definitely try messaging. I can leave an email, or actually getting in touch with Lee on unleashyourlight.org would probably work best, so that we
Yeah.
can know and be prepared for you a little better. So definitely try pick up that book. And we'll definitely see you this evening for a more astrological moon based kind of, let's really delve into the shadow and let's get rid of it, or let's look at it and love it into what that shadow self wants to be.
Heck yeah.
Okay, love and light to y'all, and we'll see you tonight.
Okay, wait. Go.